Alright, welcome back. So here we are in the tent, and let us begin with meeting
On the
everyone.
lookout.
That's 4 reports of avalanches in the mountains now. The Tiersmen can barely count past 9. They have neither the capacity nor the cause to close off the mountain passes. Either way, that leaves the 2nd and 4th cohort trapped outside the valley.
The Archon of War pounds his staff on the ground to articulate his words. A large and imposing man to begin with. His profile is made larger still by his hulking suit of armor that hums with mystical energies.
Or it's the work of your perfidious Earthshakers. Only a fool would not suspect a traitorous Archon of poisoning the mind of his students with sedition. We would have killed the Earthshakers Guild for their master's treachery, but I'm sure you have some perfectly valid reason for allowing them to live as your pawns.
So the Earthshakers was the group that was following the Archon of Earth. And you remember earlier I said about the Edict of Stone. This is what happened. They're still talking about how he went on a rampage and just started to slaughter everything and tried to overthrow Kairos, which someone used the Edict of Stone to turn him to stone. So all the actions are still being interacted. You just can only participate in one of the many actions.
Hey, watch yourself. When these two get going, you don't want to get between them.
We're gonna remain silent.
I always know you've run out of things to say when you resort to mocking my vassals. If we are to speak of treachery, why is it that my scouts see the Scarlet Chorus warriors defecting back to the Vendrian Guard? Your fearsome reputation has gone flaccid, for it seems you cannot control your soldiers, or perhaps you simply choose not to.
And the Iron Marshal is trying to get them to stop bickering.
Speaking of strategic failures, who was it that insisted the valley would need only a token garrison? For some strange reason, we can't seem to recall which balding halfwit grossly underestimated the enemy. Thoughts?
So yeah, he's wanting me to cough.
And I thought you had left agents within these Tiersmen when they surrendered. Either you failed to see this coming, or you knew and let it happen. Incompetent or in cahoots, either way, this mess has your filthy stink all over it.
It's true, as a spy master, he should have been giving the War Master critical information. This is pretty much backstabbing it.
We look forward to seeing you explain to Tunon why the Archon of War could not close the vice on this trivial little insurgency. When we are crowned the ruler of the Tiers, we shall have this place renamed to Ash's Folly in your honor.
If I could trust the information I get from you and your conscripted mouth breathers, perhaps I'd order my cohorts around a bit more aggressively. But last time I trusted your all-clear report, my troops failed to come home.
Oh, Ash, old boy. If you're going to have a little sob every time one of your nieces or nephews dies to the Tiersmen, perhaps we should have Siren sing you some calming lullabies to help you cope with your grief.
Okay, so basically he said, hey, he knew there was a trap, it sounds like. And he's like, yeah, go ahead, send your people in there. He sent his people in there and they got slaughtered. Now he's mocking that, and because one of the people that died was a relative of his. And the Iron Maiden isn't, or Iron Marshal isn't so happy about it. Fifth Eye, I love this. He jokes trying to lighten the mood, and he only seems to get the wrath of everyone. So I'm just gonna glare silently.
Welcome, Firestarter. We have been eagerly anticipating your arrival. Perchance you bring another of Kairos' edicts to savage the enemy?
Yes, I do.
My soldiers tell me you helped Commander Drotus on your way through Eddering. You honor the court with your selfless cooperation, for that is the sort of camaraderie that Kairos demands of us all.
I need no, thanks.
Modesty is your prerogative, but know that cooperation and goodwill have been rarities of late. You do your Lord Tunon a great honor by aiding your cousins in the disfavored.
No, don't mind us while you trade your gushing praise. We're sure the Fatebinder has come because our company lacks in small talk.
I come to bring an edict from Kairos.
For the second time, Brother Tunon selects you for the glory of proclamation. You should be honored. Tell us, what has the Overlord decided to unleash upon the Oathbreakers?
I really like this one. This one is probably my favorite because it does tell the truth. I'm being honest. Because they are incompetent and in disarray. I mean, months has happened with no results. As you saw in the cutscene, it was like, this has been happening for months. So these two liked it. He didn't so much, which is something to say.
The Overlord means to compel us into action. No doubt the avalanches in the mountains are part of this ultimatum. We must conquer the Oathbreakers or die in failure. There is no room for error, and no other way out of this valley alive. We'll need to advance across the Mittani. We lose everything if we stand still. And we move to backup Plan Green. The Earthshakers didn't make it over the mountain in time. So we do this the hard way. Over the walls instead of through.
So you found your backbone at last! Oh, we were worried past humiliations would make you soft, timid. That was a record for you, right? The baker's dozen lost in one sortie. If you had waited for the chorus reinforcements, maybe we'd have eyes and ears on the matter.
I want to know who's doing the voices. Voice. That sounds so weird to say. The voice's voice. It kind of sounds like Mark Hamill's Joker. I mean, who here agrees with me? That sounds very much like Mark Hamill's Joker. I mean, I like this ending part. He made a breastplate out of the ribcage of his dead brother. Probably not a very effective breastplate, you know, it being full of holes and stuff. A lot of exposed skin there, but, you know, whatever. But let us go with some subterfuge.
I second the Fatebinder. Thought you had the memories of one of those Oathbreakers rattling about that bronze gourd of yours. Would Kairos' mighty spy master please enlighten this gathering of allies with some scrap of strategic insight?
So he's going to twist his mask around to show another face. I really wish they would have shown that off, because that would have been cool. And I'm talking about like here with the heads like tilting and spinning.
Our river was to be the bulwark. But with the Tidecasters slain, what hope remains? It's so cold in here. Help me. Please.
Our sources tell us the Oathbreakers had some sort of magical trick in store. But this knowledge is tinged with fear trepidation. If we make a move for the Mitanni, we suspect the Oathbreakers will mount a counterattack that is equal parts valiant and futile.
So if you had chose a different option in the conquest, that would have been, this would have changed.
That was Mitanni Yanev, former noble of Apex and one of the leaders of the Vendrian Guard. Back when they were half-respectable enemies that knew how to lose with dignity. When the Guard first surrendered, Yanev presented himself to us. What he knew, we now know.
And we've had enough talking. Let's get it done. So Beric is one of the new companions we'll be getting. You've probably seen him in the streams, but I want to save talking about him for when we get to him.
Our soldiers clamor for battle, and at last we shall have it. Verse, we command you to continue guarding the Fatebinder. Tunan's chosen is our honored guest, and must be shown our finest hospitality.
I won't let you down, boss. She'll get through the campaign in one piece, as long as she doesn't do anything too stupid.
Yeah, like I did the first time, and end up dying.
Before we go, you are owed payment, Firestarter. Our spies at the Vellum Citadel were nearly cut down by the disfavored. They have you to thank for their lives. Here is a taste of our gratitude.
Ooh. Huh. Interesting. The more you ignore us. $300 rings.
Finally, the fool and his puppet are gone. Perhaps now I can hear myself think. Rarely do I question Kairos' judgment, but I will never understand why the voices of Narot is given such authority. I shudder to think what will become of us all should Tunon favor him in the end. Though the edict threatens the Scarlet Chorus just as it threatens us, I cannot shake the feeling that our allies will work against us. But at least we have allies in the court. My best soldiers have never wanted for a good blade or suit of armor, and I know I have you to thank for it. I fear we will have to call on you for more than just a few works of iron.
That's because I gave them the iron weapons and armor and not the, what's it called, the Scarlet Crusade.
You've shown your worth in war, and your name has been known to the Legion since the very beginning of this long conquest. So I'd ask that you join us this one last time, to help us wrap up this last objective. If you wish to be counted amongst the glorious, speak with the Iron Marshal. She will direct the order of battle until we are ready for the final push into the Citadel.
So those last two lines he said before this one was because of my conquest actions. The missive. So I'm just going to go down each one of these in order. You can just read them as it goes. Okay, so this was a check to see if I have his favor. I do, I think. I'm going to go with 2 if this is true. Alright. Now number 1. Okay, so he has kind of like a hive mind connection with them. So he knows when they are wounded. And right here, I can say the Tismen have customs against killing prisoners. They do? So remember, this is the event that happened. So we're going to go with that. So see, he was at the fortress that we're going to talk about a little later. Azure was the farm place. So he sent him to the food place to, take control of the food. So, armies march on their stomachs. But that was a mistake. Okay, that's all. I'm not gonna say give this information to Naruto. So she got a point in subterfuge somehow. I'm not quite sure how, but alright. Well, crap. I'm kind of regretting buying that bronze dagger. But loot is random, so I don't even have a chance of knowing what I might get. So I believe this is... Oh, this is actually leather armor. So I get 1 armor, -2 to crush and fire, but piercing and frost. I will actually take that. Let's see what Vet got. Oh yeah, this is better. I know if some people are going to run up to her and try to melee her. Ooh. That's definitely something nice. I'm just kind of impressed. I have a fine iron dagger already. I mean, wow, that's pretty awesome. What is Eradicator? Oh, okay, that's why they've been exploding. I thought it was because of my magic. No, it's because of my sword. Well, that's pretty awesome. So we can talk with these two guys. So Lucy kind of not has much liking to me because she sees herself as a babysitter. While Marcus does kind of have some respect for us. So yeah, if I had any of these things, I could interact with them. But I don't, so I'm just going to go in alphabetical order. Actually, no, I'm going to do that later because there is some extra interactions if I get Barris first. So let's go grab him. Now you might notice this guy looks kind of odd, especially compared to all the rest. So I'm already tier 2 with them. So this basically, because of her little chest piece you can see right there, this means she is his second in command. So let's just go through the alphabetical. So you remember both of these earlier. And yeah, I'll help. So she's not very faithful about my fighting abilities, but she knows that Tunon only gets the best. So you can see Baron kind of looks like a bunch of rusted spikes.
Fatebinder, the Iron Marshal has tasked me with keeping you alive, and I have no intention of disappointing her. Likewise, good Binder.
So because I have this favor 1, he's actually more cordial to me, while if you were not so high, he would kind of just be grunting at you.
Beric, is that you under there? I had no idea you were in Vendrian's well. Fatebinder, do you know this walking anchor?
And no, I do not know him.
It's challenging enough to experience battle from a courtroom, much less remember the faces of your cohorts. I wouldn't expect you to know me under these accursed blades of rust.
Now, what's going to happen is the third option, you know, I talked about the food option, the fortress, and the library. I did the library, and I talked about the food where the Archon of Stone went rampant. The fortress, at the very end, you read the Edict of Storms, which basically caused all the blades and armor and everything metal to swirl around in lightning and static and just rip people to pieces. Beric was one of the disfavored who ran into the storm and survived. So this is what happened to him. A bunch of swords and armor and all sorts of things just welded themselves to his armor and his flesh. So he is now permanently stuck like that. And that's why he looks the way he does. Because, you know, he was kind of stupid enough to run into an edict. So we had the Edict of Fire, there was the Edict of Stone and the Edict of Storm at the very end of the conquest. Beric was doing the Edict of Storm events. Verse, I don't think she was in any of the Edicts events. But I'm known as the Fire Starter because I did the Edict of Fire.
Better to work with the Honorable Binder than some chorus children.
So as you can see, yeah, since I'm favored with him, he's having a totally different attitude than if I didn't have any favor. Alright, so this is normal, so it doesn't seem like he's not going to be very happy about joining your crew no matter what happens. You could probably have 5 points into favor, if you could even get that, and he would still be disapproving of joining you. So I'm going to do a number 1. I'm honored to have him by my side. So I gain favor with the disfavored. It's so odd to say. Am I... No, okay, I'm still at 2. So let's level up my people real fast. Alright, so she has a wound. And that's why her stats are like that. I should get her healed up. Not quite sure how to do it. But Beric, we can give him some... do I want him to have some HP? No, I think I'll give him some accuracy. Because he's going to be a tank and he's going to want to keep the enemy aggro. I don't even know how he eats. It looks like his entire face is sealed up. That they had to, like, literally cut holes into the iron for him to see. And he's going to be my tank, so I want him to be taunting and mocking the enemies.
Sorry, I can't.
And since I don't even need to carry heavy armor because he can't take his armor off. This is leather. Ooh. Ooh, nice.
You learn something every day.
And my character leveled up because I gained some subterfuge. As you can see, Beric has like no subterfuge, so he got 5 points from just that one activity. And now that I have him, I can start doing this stuff. So we're gonna learn this. So I've earned a new spell item. Oh, I don't have 40. So this is lightning. It requires 15. And distance. So let us see. Yeah, that looks better. I'm not a big favor of that helm. Yeah, here we go. Oh. I'm going to give Barrett that because he's going to be my tank. I'll give him some cheese.
Can't do that.
Let's first go over here. So both of these are worse than what I have. What about you? No. Huh. Do I now? No, I still don't have it. Let's check out the shield. I kind of like it that the shield gives him more defense in a way. Alright, so this guy is kind of frustrated because his iron shipments are missing. And bronze is really hard to forge with because you have to have a special way to forge it, or to smelt it actually. So if you don't smelt it just right, bronze is actually pretty terrible for a weapon and armor. You have to mix it just perfectly and have the right amount of puritans removed and all that sort of stuff. It is a very hard thing to smelt. While iron, you just have to smelt it to a high enough degree and melt all the impurities, and it's ready to be forged with. So that's why iron is a better makes better weapons. But they tend to rust and all that sort of stuff. See, this is my conquest decision. I gave the disfavored iron. So yeah, it's like, why is this the first time? I was the leader over the forge. I'm gonna help him. I'm here to help, even if that means to clean up the Archon's messes. Oh, they did not quite like that, but at least I didn't lose any points. I just gained points.